Are you doing everything right financially, but feel like you're just running in place? Are you wondering how the rich are able to accumulate money so quickly, while you struggle and sacrifice to save a few bucks while trying to make ends meet? The reason why so many folks take years and often decades to generate any real wealth is because they don't understand and unlock the incredible power of leverage. Now you might be asking, what is leverage? In short, it is using debt or other people's money to buy wealth-building assets that you would not be able to buy on your own. By using leverage, you can multiply your returns dramatically and turn a relatively small investment into a large return. The drawback is that leverage almost always comes with heightened risk. The more you borrow, the more you can get burned if your investment does not turn out the way you think it will. So you need to be careful when using this strategy. But for those moments when you think an asset is on the verge of phenomenal growth, the proper use of leverage can take maximum advantage of that opportunity. In this video, I am going to discuss why leverage is a radical difference maker and share with you 3 powerful ways to use leverage to skyrocket your wealth in a short period of time. You will also want to stick around to the end because I will share a way to use a type of leverage that doesn't involve borrowing any money or taking on any risk, but can be a really effective way to grow your wealth. Let's get into it. Number 1. Real estate investing. Let's start with a story. Ken and Kimberly are siblings who have each inherited $20,000 from their grandmother. Ken invests his $20,000 in the stock market and makes 10% each year on his investment. At the end of 10 years, his investment is worth $51,874. He's more than doubled his money, so not bad. But Kimberly took a different approach. She used her $20,000 as a down payment on a rental property worth $100,000 at a 6% interest rate. She then rented it out for $1,000 per month, which gave her around $300 in cash flow each month after paying for her mortgage, taxes, insurance, and so on. Assuming a very modest 3% appreciation rate. Can you guess how much she had at the end of 10 years? The answer is $103,344. Let's soak that in. She multiplied her money more than 5 times and wound up with around double the wealth that Ken had. What was the difference? Ken bought an asset worth $20,000. Kimberly bought an asset worth 5 times that amount. Even though they had the same amount of money to start, she used leverage to buy a much bigger asset and thus had much greater earning potential. This is a simple example of the power of leverage, and I used real estate as my first strategy because I think it's one of the most tried and true strategies for building wealth over time. But if you don't want to deal with tenants, repairs, and the like, there are other ways to use leverage to amplify your returns. Number 2. Securities trading. If stocks are more your game, there is plenty of opportunity to use leverage there as well. The most obvious example is by using a margin account. This is basically a line of credit that is associated with your brokerage account. You must apply for this type of account and get approved. But once you are, you can tap into that line of credit to buy more stocks than your cash balance would otherwise allow. So if you have $4,000 to invest and you get a margin account that allows you to buy $8,000 worth of stock, then if that $8,000 investment goes up by 10%, you have actually made a 20% return. But it cuts the other way too. If your $8,000 investment goes down by 10%, you have experienced a 20% loss. And if the value of the security goes down quickly and dramatically, you may experience a margin call, which could result in the broker selling your stock without your permission, which would lock in your loss. This is really high-risk stuff and not for the faint of heart. Another way to leverage stocks is to buy options. When you buy an option, you are not buying the actual stock. You are instead buying what is called a derivative, which basically gives the option holder the opportunity to buy or sell the underlying stock at a given price. The cost to buy an option is often much less than the cost of buying the underlying stock. But there is of course a rub. Options expire, so if you do not exercise your right within the designated time period, it will expire worthless. Here's an example of how it works. ABC Corporation is trading at $50 per share. You think it's going to go up to $60 per share over the next month, so you buy a call option contract at a $50 strike price that expires in around 2 months. If the cost of the option is $10 per share, then you have paid $1,000 for the opportunity to control $5,000 worth of stock. If the stock goes up to $60 per share within that time frame and you exercise the option, you could pocket $1,000 in profit, which equals a 100% return on your investment. If you had just used your $1,000 to buy the stock outright, you would have only owned 20 shares. A move to $60 per share would have netted you just $200 versus the $1,000 you would have made using options. As with margin trading, options can be extremely high risk. For example, If ABC stock did not move in the direction we expected within the expiration date, the entire $1,000 investment would have been gone. In short, you need to have really deep conviction in your options trade and be willing to lose the entire investment if you want to do this type of investing. A third way to use leverage to enhance your stock market returns is by investing in leveraged ETFs. These types of funds allow an investor to go long or short on a particular index and would reward the investor if they chose correctly. So if you believed that the S&P was going to go up and wanted to take maximum advantage if that happened, you could buy shares of a leveraged S&P 500 ETF, which would magnify your profits if the S&P rose. So instead of making a 10% return if the S&P rose by that amount, you might make 20% or even 30% instead, depending on how leveraged the ETF was. But you would also take outsized losses if the S&P fell. Like with options, you need to have strong conviction and a high tolerance for risk to invest in these types of funds. These are some notable examples, but there are even more exotic options to use leverage when trading, including commodities trading through Forex, which allows up to 50 times leverage for US-based traders. If you are a high net worth individual, you can also access hedge funds, which are notorious for using leverage to juice their returns. Number 3, leverage other people. The final leverage strategy I want to discuss is a bit different. Leverage does not always involve borrowing money. Leverage is really anything that magnifies your ability to do something. So you can leverage people to help you boost your wealth. A simple example is a business owner who hires a much-needed employee or consultant to help him grow their business. If you hire a marketing expert and pay them $1,000 to grow your sales, and the marketing campaign they produce generates extra profits of $2,000, that's a perfect example of using leverage to make money you otherwise would have missed out on. This type of leverage can be incredibly powerful and can generate returns that blow away the returns from any other use of leverage. It's why huge corporations will pay millions of dollars to recruit top talent. But you don't always have to shell out big money to take advantage of this type of leverage. Some of the best ways I have leveraged other people did not involve me paying them anything. When I started investing in real estate and when I started my online businesses, I did extensive research online on how to get started. There are plenty of videos, articles, and other resources written by experts in the field that I read for absolutely free. Getting access to their advice, experiences, and lessons gave me a huge boost when I launched my own online businesses and really positioned me for success. It's easy to forget that prior to the internet, this type of information was just locked up inside the brains of people who had the specialized experience. There really wasn't an easy way for them to share it with the mass public. Now, it's there for the taking. I would urge you to invest the time and effort to find it, soak it in, and use that information to jumpstart your journey to financial success. All it takes is one great idea that you never would have considered before to completely change the course of your life. So there you have it, 3 ways you can use leverage to generate extraordinary financial results. If you enjoyed this video, please take a moment to like and subscribe if you haven't already done so. It helps a ton and I would really appreciate it. Thanks for watching.